FPL is back, Game Week 8 is nearly upon us, and it's time to start planning our teams. In this video we're going to look into how my team did in the previous game week and run through some of the main players and some of the main talking points from the last week. So if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and let's get straight into the video. So what feels like a lifetime ago, Game Week 7, I managed to score 69 points, which I was reasonably happy with. It was enough for a very small green arrow. Overall, the Arsenal defence double up returned yet again, which I was very happy with. Senesi and Virgil didn't come up with the goods, but another pair that probably frustrated me more that didn't come up with the goods was the Manchester City midfielders. I doubled up on them over the last two game weeks and they've drawn blanks in both. The only consolation in that is they both got clean sheet points. Other than that, Antoine Semenyo, fantastic as always this season, but it's getting to that point where more than enough people are owning him, but there's still some benefits to be had. He's still around 50% owned, give or take. Then Iliman Ndiaye also got on the score sheet, which was nice. I think that was a penalty. I think my overall rank would have helped if it wasn't for Jack Grealish's late winner, which probably affected my rank a little bit more than I would have liked. Haaland, obviously captain, enough said really with that one. But the one that did disappoint me just that little bit, and in hindsight, would I have changed stuff? Probably not. But the Caicedo 10-pointer on my bench with his goal against Liverpool. It was disappointing to have that many points on my bench, which was a common theme for me last year. And going forward, I'm trying to sort of restrict that. But that's the problem you have when you have a semi-decent bench. You're always going to leave those points out there. And would I have started him against Liverpool? You know, if I could have my time back, I don't think I would. So it's unfortunate to miss out on that, but overall an okay game week. Let's go and look into some of the talking points for this game week 8 that is upon us. So I'd like to start then with Enzo Fernandez, who is probably on a lot of people's radar with his fantastic performances already this season. Now, he has taken up that number 10 role a little bit more frequently because of Cole Palmer's up and down sort of season with injuries so far, and it just makes Enzo Fernandez an even better asset going forward. Now, he has pulled out now of the Argentina squad, and he is back with Chelsea, and he will miss the last game, the last friendly for Argentina. But with the amount of players that are pulling out or didn't even go to their international teams to play over this international break, I can't help but feel this could just be one of those international injuries where they hopefully give him a well-earned break heading into what would be an important game away at Nottingham Forest for Chelsea. So I'd feel pretty confident if he's somebody that you're looking to bring in for this upcoming game week, and I think it's very reasonable, especially when you look at those fixtures that are coming up for Chelsea with Forest, Sunderland, Tottenham, and then Wolves and Burnley as a nice back-to-back double-header. And that attacking threat he has shown this season with 3 goals, 2 assists, and really, really good numbers with his XG per 90, just over the 0.5 mark. And to be honest, a respectable price range. He's putting up numbers that are very similar, if not a little bit better, than Bruno Fernandes. And he's considerably less as well. And a much better fixture run than Manchester United coming up. And potentially he's playing in a team that is performing much better than Manchester United. So I think all things are pointing to bringing in Enzo Fernandez in your teams. Maybe if you feel a little bit uncertain due to the injury that was mentioned, just wait till Friday, see what Maresca has to say in any press conference. Even then, if he's a bit coy, a bit shy on the injury news, I'd still feel pretty confident that he will be playing come this weekend. So next up then we have Ryan Gravenberch, who's another player who's picked up an injury while on international duty, or at least a potential injury. Again, this could be one of those ones that is precautionary, which from early signs does sound like it is, but the word hamstring has been mentioned, and anytime sort of a hamstring gets mentioned in football terms, you do sort of ring the alarm bells. They're not the thing, they're not the injury you will ever run off. So he's not super high owned, he's only at 6%, but I'd like to bring him up because he has actually got the highest points per game of any Liverpool player already this season. He's got more points than Mohamed Salah, which is quite incredible. And I don't think any predicted the performance output that Ryan Gravenberch would bring to FPL this season as a whole. But another thing to look at also beyond the injury is the run of fixtures. It's not ideal for Liverpool coming up with Manchester United, Brentford and Aston Villa. It's also not the worst. But on top of that, then you've got to look at the XG per 90 and the XA per 90. It's not great from Ryan Gravenberch, and he is significantly overperforming his XG. And you do have to wonder, especially when they play these difficult teams, how long that can continue for. So for me, he's not somebody that I'd be willing to take any sort of risk on. And then on top of that, the way that Liverpool have sort of entered this last international break and not in fine form, he's certainly one of those players that I would look to hold off on if you had any interest. And even if you were already an owner, he could be one for the bench this game week. You will just have to see maybe also in the press conferences and see what Arne Slot has to say coming up. So I'd just like to touch on Ollie Watkins, a goal for England in the first international against Wales, and maybe starting to look to find his feet in this season after a pretty poor start, and a well-documented poor start at that. His price has dropped from 9 million to 8.7, probably enticing more people in, and especially with those goals starting to drip feed into his game again. Still only the one for Villa in the Premier League, but now a goal for England as well. There is signs of life from Ollie Watkins and this season, but going forward on top of that, especially with the template strikers that you're looking at the moment with Erling Haaland, João Pedro, and a lot of people have gone with somebody like Victor Gyökeres, and that does seem the template front three so far this season. And I wouldn't want to be changing that for Ollie Watkins, especially with his fixtures coming up. There's Tottenham away next, but then you've also got Manchester City and Liverpool after that. And then Bournemouth at home, which is a very difficult fixture in its own right, the way Bournemouth are playing this season. After that, I think it could be a time to reassess, as you have a Leeds and Wolves fixture, which would be very tasty to have a fire in Ollie Watkins in your team. But for now, even with those signs of life, he's somebody to stay well clear of. So next on the list then we have João Pedro, who didn't actually attend Brazil's international break due to some fitness and injury issues himself. Now this one very much seemed like a precautionary sort of thing with and a deal maybe between Chelsea and Brazil. They have obviously their major sort of striker crisis with injuries at the moment, and also Cole Palmer out. I don't think they can afford to be sending sort of a 90% fit João Pedro to these games for Brazil and risk him coming back injured, as it would really hamper them going forward in the upcoming games. And speaking of those upcoming games, it's a really nice fixture run for Chelsea coming up. And João Pedro is slowly declining in ownership, with people slowly starting to take him out. He is now actually dropped below Erling Haaland. So Erling Haaland is now the most owned player in the game over João Pedro. But I would beg anybody to reconsider any sort of transfer plans they have for João Pedro going forward. Nottingham Forest away is not the fixture it was, and there could be a lot of potential for goals in that game for João Pedro and Chelsea themselves. After that, you've got a lovely fixture at home to Sunderland. Tottenham away could be an interesting one, but then on the back of that, you've got Wolves and Burnley. So I think you'd be mad to be getting rid of João Pedro now. And unless any serious injury news comes through, I would really be backing him and trusting him in those upcoming fixtures for Chelsea, who will be looking to kick on after a very good performance and result against Liverpool pre-international break. He will also miss the next Champions League game because of the red card he got and the suspension. I think that only helps his minutes in the Premier League also. It also gives him that midweek break come the next group, groups of Champions League fixtures. So definitely, going forward, keep João Pedro for me. Just a quick word then on Jojo Mabadashvili from Liverpool. Now, this is a scenario that seems to come up most seasons for Liverpool and us as FPL managers. Alisson tends to get injured a good 2-3 times a season, it would seem. And each time it tends to be muscular, and it seems to be around 6 to 8 weeks that he gets injured for. And that is the estimation for this current injury for him, is about 6 weeks. Now, you could say he served about a week or two of that already, 2 weeks more than likely. And in the past, we've sort of thought maybe Kelleher becomes an option, and sometimes it has been viable. But I don't think this is a headache you need right now. Yes, £4.3 million for a Liverpool goalkeeper sounds like great value on the face of it. But with the fixtures coming up, and with a lot of people probably owning somebody like a David Raya, is Giorgio Mamardashvili going to be a wise use of a transfer with the potential for Alisson to come back maybe the end of October, early November? I don't think it is. Don't get me wrong, those next three, they have clean sheet potential for Liverpool if they can pull their act together and bring their performances back in line. But then after that, you have Manchester City anyway, and then you're probably looking at Alisson coming back. So I just don't think it's a risk, especially on a goalkeeper, that anybody really needs to be making. So I just thought I'd debunk that theory, just in case anybody was willing to go there. So I just thought I'd do a final little piece on the Arsenal defence and who we should probably be considering going forward. Those good fixtures are still there. They did start maybe last week, the week before, against Newcastle potentially. But certainly now that there is still some very good fixtures, and for me warrants an Arsenal double up in defence, and that's what I have gone with. I do have Gabriel, I also have David Raya. But who are the two players that I consider the best options? Well, they're at the top there for now. Gabriel is the number one option, and I just think he should be the one at the top of your shopping list for Arsenal defenders. He's the most nailed. I think most of that back four is pretty cemented, and it has been all season so far. It's been pretty consistent. There was a bit of worry of Ben White coming in, Lewis Skelly coming in to rotate a little bit in those fullback positions, but that hasn't really happened as of yet. So with Gabriel, like I say, you've got that security of minutes, but that being said, with those rotations not seeming to happen just yet, and the attacking threat that Timber has showed this season, he's suddenly looking like one of probably my second best option, and he is that little bit cheaper than Gabriel, so that would be a really good double up. After that, it would be Calafiori. Again, showed that little bit more attacking threat than somebody like Saliba, and that's why I ranked him above Saliba. Now, I've got Saliba fourth there, but that doesn't mean I've got David Raya in 5th. That's my double up. And it just depends on your goalkeeper situation. If you've got a goalkeeper like I had when I brought Raya in, that you're not confident in. I didn't have a keeper clean sheet all season, so I thought it was time to make that change and get that premium goalkeeper in and start at least earning those few points from that area of the pitch. So I could rank him as 2nd if you are in desperate need of a goalkeeper, but I would probably put him 3rd in this list. If you can go Gabriel Timber, I think there is a lot more upside there, going for 2 Arsenal defenders rather than the Arsenal defender and a goalkeeper. So for me, that's the order I would be picking these defenders. But for me, also a non-negotiable is an Arsenal double up at the moment. The best defence in the league by far. So really hope you enjoyed that video and it helped you out a little bit. If you're excited for FPL to be back, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. It really helps the channel. I really want to help grow this channel and make it better for you guys and give you more and more important information in the coming weeks. Other than that, I will see you in the next video, which will be my transfer tips, and that should be coming out in the next day or two. So I will see you then.